He didn't slam you, he didn't bump you, he didn't nudge you, he rubbed you. And rubbing's son is racing.
And welcome everybody to Locked On iRacing. We are at week 3 of season 3, 2021. I am Peter Wilco Wilkinson, and this is Braden Martin.
How you doing?
Or should I say, hold on, Braden, the guest killer, Martin.
Yes, that is me. That is me.
Public
enemy
soon.
number one.
It is. I have seen a few private message groups where you are actually a hero to a few people, but we'll get onto that later. Let's go to This is the Podcast. Welcome, news and results section. We have got an interview coming up this Sunday, so keep an ear out for that. We're recording 2 in the next couple of days, so we'll have a backlog of stuff, so which is pretty good. We'll work out which one we're putting up. Both very prominent dirt races from around the world, so looking forward to getting a little bit more of an insight into the dirt community. One of them is a very big name, so very excited about that, but we'll let you know very soon. Jump in our Discord if you want to have a chat, see all the information before we announce it to everyone as well. Definitely the place where we get feedback from everyone, ask for questions and all that kind of stuff. So lockedonlads.com/Discord. Hop in there, or it is in the show notes. There is a link down the bottom there. Definitely, if you haven't already subscribed to the RSS feed of this podcast from your app of choice, so that way when we release an episode, you get it straight away. Give us a review so other people out there can check it out as well. But don't forget CD Cinematography. Good old Clayton Davies doing some great work out there doing photography. Go see him. Get some stuff done with him, especially if you're a dirt racer. He's doing some really good stuff out there, but he is sponsoring our show at the moment. So thank you very much. You can see all our liveries at the moment, or most of our liveries that we're racing with Locked On Racing has his logo on it. So thank you so much for your support, Clayton Davies at CD Cinematography. But let's get into the actual, what we've been up to. Braden, what have you been up to, mate, besides punting guests?
Besides punting guests? Quite a bit, actually. I've done a fair bit of racing, which is unusual, which comes with the fact that I've got a little bit of a break from work, which is nice. So, just really trying to grind that iRating up.
You're doing your best to grind it down as well, too.
Well, not necessarily
too
me.
soon or not?
I don't think anything will be not soon enough.
Okay, let's start salty. Give us the salty version first, and then we'll go on to how you've been grinding it up.
Okay, well, a couple of weeks ago, I think I mentioned after I did SNL, I commentated the SNL race, and somehow I managed to join a race. I don't even know. I was still talking to Alex in the broadcast sort of Discord, and managed to join a race somehow. Didn't obviously race it. Turned my PC off. Went to bed. Woke up in the morning. Checked the iRace schedule app to sort of see what races were coming up that morning, and noticed my iRating's gone down by like over 100. When I looked at my previous races, apparently I joined a race that I never raced in, lost 119 iRating. Add insult to injury. Also, the Margin Port lost their grand final bye in 2007. So, just make things worse. And then, unfortunately, I did SNL this week. Qualified 3rd. I was actually really enjoying Suzuka. Qualified 3rd, obviously not in the top split, but in the second split, which I was pretty happy with. Some really good drivers in there. I was really looking forward to racing some of the Ozicar guys. Nathan was in there, John Schultz was in there, Sean Doyle was in there, and a couple of others as well, I think. So I was looking forward to having a race. Qualified 3rd, waiting, still checking tech. Trying to send Nathan a message in the in-game chat. Nothing's working. Just would not progress to grid up. It was just stuck on a grayed out bar instead of turning the green to go to grid up. So I tried to leave and rejoin. And it kept saying iRacing is already running. It wouldn't let me rejoin. Eventually, just to get anything to load in iRacing, I had to quit it from the task manager. And then I tried to get in to at least try and get some SR or something out of the race, and it just wouldn't let me join the session again. So lost another 103 iRating for another race I didn't actually get to do. So 222 iRating for races I have had no control over. It's a bit frustrating. So there's my saltiness.
Good old Sunday Night Lights. Definitely check it out. Go in there. Oh, no, hold on. That's not what we're doing right now.
Yeah, so that was a bit frustrating, but I've actually had a pretty good run of races. So I did some races at Suzuka. So a couple of pretty good ones. I'd obviously done Suzuka a little bit. We did the East track in Ozicar. I think it was the East track.
Yep.
Last season, the West track was in there in officials. And then I've also done the full track. I think that's been in officials as well before. So I wasn't actually too, nervous about it or unsure about it. And yeah, actually had some pretty good results. So picked up 2 wins, which was pretty nice, and a third, and a fifth, I think, in the races I did at Suzuka. So that was pretty cool. One of the races, the win probably shouldn't have been a win. Actually, they both really shouldn't have been a win. But this really quick guy, Daniel Atuga or something, he never ever qualifies. He always just comes through the back of the field and won like the last 4 races I've raced with him. Really, really quick. And he did the same thing. I was sort of fighting for first. I think I qualified third or something. I was fighting for first with this guy who literally defended from the first lap. So he was taking the inside line, defending, parking it on the apex. Like, I could not get past him. And eventually Daniel caught up to us pretty easily with all that going on. And eventually he got past me. Those two sort of skipped off. Daniel got past him, but the very next lap didn't defend, and Daniel got back in front, started defending. I was about 3 or 4 seconds behind them at this point. Going down the straight at Suzuka, the guy that Daniel's sort of battling with sort of swerves right, trying to take the defensive line. They're both right up against the pit wall. Like, I'm talking millimeters from the pit wall, trying to make sure that he gets that inside line. Daniel tried to go around him, I think, and he's tried to come out and cover him almost like a block. They've tangled and just crashed on the pit straight and let me go through and ended up, driving off the last few laps by myself and winning. So that was pretty crazy. And then the next race that I got to win, I had a third, which was pretty good in a really good battle. And then the very next race, I qualified fourth, and Donald was in the race, Ozicar legend, Donald Savannah, and he qualified on pole, like half a second faster than second and a second quicker than me in fourth spot. And he jumped the start. I don't know what happened. He jumped the start. So he had a black flag, and then through the S's, the person in second spot who got him off the line, even though he jumped the start, actually spun, and Donald put the brakes on to try and to miss him, got rear-ended from behind and got spun around and went to the back of the field, so ended up going all the way to the back, which left me and one of the guys I was battling in the race before to fight it out for the win. We had a pretty back and forth race, and eventually I got him around the outside at, is it 130R? Is that the name of the corner? The little kink sort of thing? Yeah. Got him around the outside, and then he made a mistake into the chicane at the end. Ended up on the grass and got a win, which was pretty cool. I was pretty chuffed about that. And then I jumped in yesterday to try and keep this iRating grind going. And that was by the way, that actual race was on stream, which was really cool. I haven't won a race on stream in a long time, so I've been doing a bit of streaming again. Jumped in yesterday expecting to farm some more IR at Suzuka, clicked into the race, the track map comes up. Oh no, that is not Suzuka. So I jumped into a race at Hockenheim Short A with doing no practice whatsoever. Had never driven the track, obviously driven Hockenheim. It is really short. It is very short. I
was trying to work out where it was. I'm like, from your clip, I'm like, that's definitely Hockenheim, but that's not after anything I've seen before. Yeah, so you pretty much the sort of after the kink, you got the main straight, then the right hand kind of type corner. You're sort of halfway down that straight, turn right, and cut across the rest of the track, so you miss out the hairpin and all of that section. But yeah, Daniel Gray, podcast guest, was in the race, and it was pretty funny. There's a clip up on my Twitch channel
if you want to have a look. I was like, oh, it'd be nice if he'd stop holding me up
Yeah,
on about lap
full
3.
Bagging his driving, how bad he was holding you up, and then like, oh, whoops, I accidentally punted him. My bad.
And then, very next corner, originally I thought I missed my braking marker by heaps, which I think I missed it by a little bit for earlier in the race, but having done the track now, it's definitely where I brake. He just broke a bit earlier than I was expecting, and I completely rear-ended him. You know what's hilarious about that? I got no damage from that whatsoever. Not a bent wing.
Oh, really?
Not a floppy nose cone. Nothing. Because I thought, oh, geez, I'm going to be so slow after this.
There's got to be some net code in there as well then.
Yeah, so I think that's might be part of it. But definitely I was hitting him no matter what, net code or no net code. He was dying. It was just a complete misjudgment.
What I'm hearing is it was Daniel Gray's fault, not yours.
Oh, I'd love to say that. It was 100% my fault. So that made for some pretty good funny viewing. He was only streaming with like 130 people watching him. So I've
you had some choice words to say about you too.
Very quickly had Public Enemy #1. Nah, he was actually pretty good about it. So I joked, but I think someone might have actually came over from his stream and gave me a follow. So I don't know if he was hoping I'd punt him or because just after that I got a follow on Twitch. So shout out to that guy.
Oh, this guy's good. I like this guy.
So that's what I've been doing. I'm almost up to 2,700 iRating now, but it'd be probably closer to almost 2,900 if I hadn't lost those 222 that I'm definitely not salty about. But apart from that, practicing some USA Speedway, which is interesting. Again, for Ozicar this week. Oh, obviously we had Ozicar. Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, we do. So I guess, look, we'll start with me because I haven't said much about my racing, and look, I haven't done much racing. To be honest, obviously with Scraps and Ozicar, that's taken up a fair chunk of my time. Work's been crazy, but then even worse, the house that we're building at the moment's just gone into overdrive trying to get everything finished last minute for the banks before we sign off on things and start the build. So basically had the last 4 days chasing stuff up with that. So I had 2 days where I've just walked away from everything and just basically played some very tediously numb-minding games and not jumped in the rig or anything like that. So just to sort of escape from things a little bit. So no racing except for Scraps and Ozicar. But in Scraps, we turned left a few times, about 80, so 160 turn lefts on Wednesday night. Stayed on the lead lap the whole way. Didn't really... So interviewed Emily Jones, jumped off quickly, jumped in, did the set up the stream. By that time, it was like 5 minutes to go before the race. Didn't really do my setup properly. Fixed series, but you can change a few things to get your tyre wear better. Didn't do that. So found myself early on feeling like I was off the pace for starters because I haven't practiced the track at all. But then being Charlotte, it wasn't too bad because it was a fairly easy braking markers and all that kind of stuff. But I was missing a couple tenths anyway. I was the slowest one out there, put it that way. But then obviously the tyres, where I get my time back is my tyres. Usually go really well. Fuel consumption is really good. I get my time back that way. But tyres weren't there because I didn't set the car up right. Did the 80 laps, made one mistake with like 3 to go where I just came out of a corner the wrong direction and hit the wall and punted me into the infield. Somehow didn't cause a yellow flag, but by then my car's ruined. I was half a lap down, so it was just a matter of staying on the lead lap and being the last person on the lead lap, which was a shame because I think we could have got, once again, fairly close to the top 10 because I had pace there at the end, new tyres and finally understanding a bit more of the track, and it was finding my way through the field. Took out the race organiser, one of the race organisers, Mazomo, and when I think, and I actually took out Justin Howe, I think, accidentally as well and everything. So someone spun in front doing some silly things. He checked up and I just went straight up the rear of him and punted him. Broke the front of my car, smoke coming out everywhere. Got to the pits, still had my replacement car there, so swapped it over and got back out there. But at that stage I had pace, which was good, and I had fresher tyres than a chunk of the field, so I did just one of those one small mistake.
I did see you were up there for a little bit, and then there was a restart, and you just went backwards off the restart. Got
yeah.
dive
So
bombed. I don't know if everyone was necessarily adhering to the staying in your lane before the line mark, because I definitely feel like you got attacked from behind before then.
Yeah, there was definitely a certain team that was rushing up the middle on green, which you're not supposed to do, and almost took me out a couple of times. And I think those people were then involved in some crashes, so they sort of got themselves back anyway. But yeah, finished the race, which was good. Leading locked-on car, could have gone better and hopefully get better. But then Auzicar on Thursday night, which hard to even remember, it's so long ago now, but we did an enduro and it was around Le Mans, and
it was
for look, it's a 4 and almost a 5-minute lap to get around that thing. You would think, okay, it's fairly interesting, but it's not. That's a fairly boring track to race at. On my end, everything went really well. Had fuel to... we were talking, obviously, last week about fuel strategy and all that kind of stuff, how four laps was hard to make. I was fighting in those first 2 laps when everyone was fighting, trying to get track position and stay with everyone. No one was drafting properly with me. Everyone's coming up doing side draft, but I'm not close enough to them to get good enough side draft because I didn't trust them to be that close. So I was trying to, get up on people, and then they were getting the side draft, so they were slightly overtaking me, but they're never doing the slingshot method properly. So, and you guys were way out in front, so there was no chance of doing it with you guys. But even after 2 laps, I quickly looked at my fuel numbers, and I was well under what I targeted for. So everyone else is like, yeah, cool, I think we're right on, we can do it this first stint. So a lot of us decided to do our 4 laps on the first stint instead of the second stint, which was the original plan. And I burnt over 2 litres on that 4th lap, and I still had fuel when I came into the pit stop. And
over 2 litres, that was just a normal lap for me.
Exactly. So that was me on a high burn. Like I was doing 1.8, so I think there was even a 1.7 in there. It was ridiculously low, the fuel I was burning in those first 2 to 3 laps. The problem with it, though, I was battling with having some fun with John Snell, going back and forth with him a little bit, and he just unfortunately coming out of the Corvette curve, just after the Porsche curves. I think they're called the Corvette ones. Coming onto the pit straight, where the pit entrance is before the chicanes, and he just got a little bit wide there on the 3rd lap and spun. And you know the thing, how you aim for the back of the car when it spins, but these skippies have a funny feeling of when you go for the back, they grip when they overcorrect and they snap back on themselves. Does the car going to do that, or is it going to just go normal? And I decided it was probably going to snap back, so I pulled way over to the left-hand side of the track. But it didn't snap back, and he just kept on coming across the track. And
always aim for the back.
I know, and the other thing was in my mind is I don't want the off-track for going around him. I don't want the slowdown for going around him. And I thought I had enough room. I thought it was going to be fine, but it wasn't. My back right hit his front left, so it was tyre and tyre contact, which was good. Bumped me a little bit offline, got my tail loose, and then into a slide. And then in the slide, my rear wing, just as it stopped, hit the wall. Lost about probably 10 seconds in the whole thing. And then I had that decision of literally where I was. It was probably about 100 meters from pit entrance. So I had to decide in that 100 meters of how much damage is there. Do I go another 5-minute lap for my 4th lap, or do I pit now on my 3rd lap, ruin all my fuel strategy just in case my car's broken? And so I had 100 meters, and I'm like, in 100 meters, felt like it was okay. And then I just went, well, I'm going to make the call. I'm just going to go for it because there's no front end damage. So it wasn't going to be draft related. And it was fine. The car had a little ding in the back wing, and that was about it. So I still did a pretty significant lap on my 4th lap. And then it was just a matter of fighting hard to get back that time I'd lost over the next 6 laps in that spin. And I think I did a pretty good job getting back to about 16th, which I think I dropped back to mid-20s when I spun and qualified 22nd. So overall, did a pretty good job, but I definitely would have been up around, looking on the time difference from what I lost over that, was definitely looking at around the 12 to 13 mark, around where Dennis and Sean Doyle ended up. So, which is a shame because I'm fighting with Dennis for the road to 2K. So that would have been handy to get a bit closer to him. But in the end, it was a solid result with a spin. Not of my own doing. Didn't make any other mistakes that I felt the whole way around. Made the right call on strategy. Probably just had the fueling thing where I tried to cut the fuel at the 6 litre mark so I could get home with the 3 laps instead of waiting there for that extra 4 seconds to put in the last 2 litres. And it dropped the jacks. I went to put the foot down and I did wrong, so it started putting the next 2 litres in. So not only did I not get those extra 4 seconds, but I added an extra 2 seconds on in the dropping the jacks down and putting them back up again. Or not the jacks, but it let me go, revved, and then it stopped, and then it started putting fuel back in. So I lost about 6 seconds in that process, realistically, on what I should have done. So definitely would have put me around that 11, 12th place if I had done it all right. But how did you end up going? Much the same as far as a boring race goes? You sort of sat there and watched a few people just slowly get away from you, I guess?
Yeah, so the start was pretty good. So I qualified, what did I qualify? I qualified 10th, which was okay. Everyone sort of in front of me was, pretty fast. So I didn't have a bad qualifying lap, I didn't feel, but I definitely wasn't my best qualifying lap.
I definitely stuffed up my qualifying lap.
Yeah, I was super nervous.
When you got a 5-minute lap, right? And you got 1 lap to do it, and it's an enduro, so it's really important. And you get into the first corner and you're sideways, almost at 90 degrees. And you're like, oh, shit, that was the panic I had.
Yeah.
And luckily, I reckon it got to 89 degrees before I stopped it, almost to a full stop, and then got back on track. So I didn't get the off track, didn't get the loss of control. So I didn't, the time counter, but it was a good 6 seconds slower than what it should have been as well.
Yeah, and
that hurt.
That was my problem. I was super nervous because I just knew qualifying was everything in this race for me. If I started 25th or whatever because I didn't put in a qualifying lap, like I wasn't making it back in the top 10 just about. So I was probably a little bit conservative. 10th is a bit lower than I wanted, but in the end it kind of worked out anyway. So I managed to get a position or two sort of in the first section and managed to tag onto the back of the hashtag green wall minus Donald, who managed to not set a time.
Donald in my mirror, he unfortunately didn't make it through the first lap. I could see him in the Porsche curves just after that, and then all of a sudden there was smoke and he was gone. So
poor guy. And Chastity also in that group. I sort of dropped off a little bit of them, but managed to sort of start to catch the draft. They were leapfrogging a little bit in the first time down the straight. And I managed to tag onto the back, not easily, mind you, but managed to tag onto the back, but caught all of that time up once we hit the first right-hander at the end of the long straight.
Well, that's when, was it Lee Partridge went off?
No, so he was at the next one, but yeah,
I was at the next one.
Yeah, they went a bit too wide, I think, ahead of me, and that sort of caught me up. So I was sitting in 7th at that point.
Sean Doyle was fighting with them at that stage, and they're all trying to work out why he was fighting with them, and then
so caught up there, managed to tag onto the back, coming into I don't even know that left-hander at the end of that sort of shorter straight. Lee, not
with the banking.
Who was it? Lee Harrison.
Lee
went basically straight on, sort of locked up a little bit, got a little bit of snap. In the steering wheel and went straight on into the wall. It was nice. Chastity was up there. It was nice to have 2 locked-on cars up there together, maybe being able to work together or do something. And I just sort of sat on the back of that 5. I was in 6th and was just trying to stay with them, which I was able to do. So the first few laps went pretty well. We stayed out for the 4th lap and did our 4th lap stint straight away. Everyone did that except for Sean, which was, we were like, okay. Well, I was like, okay, that's a bit strange. Figured he was going to go for his 4-stopper in the middle section. I was like, it's a risk. Maybe he thinks that we're going to hold each other up or something, or maybe going too wide, and that made him a bit nervous at the start. So he thought maybe it'd be better to get out in clean air, or rather than clean air, maybe be able to tag onto the back of some people in the backpack and draft up on them down the back straight and make up a gap. So we all came in on the 4th lap. I lost a little bit of time in the pits. I obviously filled up to the top. Lost a little bit of time in the pits, and then they basically drafted away from me. Oh no, the first pit stop I still stayed with them. It was the second. So the first pit stop went in, the rest came through, and then the second pit stop, I probably took on about half a litre or maybe 0.8 of a litre too much fuel, which dropped me off the back, and just... Oh, it actually was in the middle stint as well. I was amazed by the amount of push draft that they were getting in a row. So the 5 cars ahead of me, I was only 0.6 seconds behind, and the 5 cars ahead of me all managed to draft away from me. So normally being within the 0.6 and you're within the draft, you're fine. But because they were all just sitting behind, almost like a peloton or like a pursuit cycling team or something, the drag, the aero effects was just massive, and basically causing me to drop back, even though I was within 0.6 of a second. So that was really interesting to see. And then took on about 0.6 of a litre, 0.8 of a litre, too much fuel at the stop, which dropped me off of John Schultz and Ben Snell, and basically drove the last 3 laps by myself, about 3 seconds behind John, and about 5 seconds in front of Chastity. Drove around the last few laps by myself to come 6th, but that was pretty good. I was pretty happy with 6.
Yeah, definitely. That was the problem with it. Once you were out of draft, there was nothing you can really do with the people, unless you like I said, pulled up with someone. But even then, if you're getting someone behind you to work with you, you're not going to catch the people in front, because they're working with people anyway. So
and they're already faster as well. So it was just at that point, it was about making sure I maintained the 0 incidents, so I could make sure I didn't lose those 2 points. So yeah, it was okay. It was, I don't know if I'd want to do it again. It was fun though. It was something different. I really enjoyed the strategy and the teamwork that we had throughout the week, trying to work out what was faster and stuff like that. That was really cool. In terms of the race itself, it was okay. It was okay. Not the best I've done, not the worst I've done. But shout out to Ira for trying stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't put enough time into practice. Really, I need to shave probably about 2 seconds a lap off my normal pace time, but.
Yeah,
with 5 minutes a lap, you're getting 3 laps in. I focused on the fuel conservation because that's where my strength was going to be, and just unfortunately tangled up in the wrong thing. But anyway, it's fine. And hopefully next season we see a couple of enduros pop in, with the probably Speedway not going ahead next season, which is tonight's race. Looking forward to that. But let's get into the news and the updates. Once again, I'd like to thank CD Cinematography. If you're after some dirt, in particular oval photography work done from iRacing, definitely go over to the Facebook page CD Cinematography and check out Clayton Davies' work. He's got some really good stuff over there, doing some great photos for some of the great leagues over there, some of the best drivers in the world he does some work for as well. So definitely get over and just give his page a like and a follow as well on Facebook. Check out his work, and then if you are looking for some stuff, definitely go and check him out, and give him some extra work because he's helping us out. We need to go support him out as well. But let's head into the news and the updates. So there is an update. Patch came out just pretty much after the podcast last week, from my understanding. Lots of little general fixes. There's a few things with the way the pit stops. The pit lanes work is it green flag we worked out, not yellow flag for leagues?
Yeah, so you can close and open the pit lane manually during green flag running. So that would actually work pretty well for Ozicar, where, so instead of, we've talked about, cool, you've got your tyres, but everyone does the first lap anyway, so it doesn't matter. But now IRA theoretically can say, the first 3 laps are closed for pits. And the last 2 laps are closed for pits. So your pit window is now lap 4 and lap 2nd, 3rd last.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's where it's going to come into account, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
I think it worked good for leagues that run manual safety cars as well. If they want to close the pit lane for any reason, running their own safety car, I think it would be good for them as well.
Yep. No, that's pretty cool. And there's apparently the rubber doesn't get on the cars anymore, you were telling me as well?
Oh, just the rate of the rubber build-up on car body panels has been reduced, in case the rubber was holding you back. Maybe that's where your extra few tenths are missing. Too much rubber on your car will go.
Oh, cool. And I'm just looking here at league points. So if iRacing gave you a disqualification exceeding incident limits, you would get 0 points in that race. However, they now receive their finishing position. So if you finish still 18th out of 20, you would get points for 18th rather than 0.
Yep.
Drivers disqualified by admin will still receive 0 points, and drivers who registered for but did not start the race will also get 0 points. So there's a few little changes there, which is good to see.
I did like this one. They fixed an issue where some crowds were so persistent to watch races they would not leave. So even when disabled in the options menu, the crowds were still present at some of the tracks. So Chicago, Silverstone, Snetterton, Southern National Motorsport Park, Volusia Speedway, Wild West Motorsport Park, and Williams Grove Speedway have some very passionate fans.
Okay, cool. The Formula Vee's got a camera adjustment as well, so so VR users don't clip through the helmet. Fixed the roll bar camera, so that's pretty cool.
Some of the downshift parameters for the new sequential gearbox have been adjusted in the MX-5 as well, unnoticed. There was some drafting upgrades in the Nascar cars. And I think there was a couple of other things I saw as well. The IMSA LEDs on the new Porsche 911 GT3 were displaying the wrong colours as well as the wrong numbering during IMSA events. And then there's a few updates on some tracks. So they fixed
Chicago Street Course. They fixed a misspelled street
yeah. So there was a misspelled
Who
street
picked that
name.
up, you reckon?
No idea. Someone who's clearly crashed because you're surely not paying attention to that whilst you're driving around.
Yeah, and the National B of Hockenheimring removed an errant brake marker.
Yep. Bathurst had some surface heights on pit road adjusted.
Yeah, that's fair too, I think.
There was some terrain that had been updated to prevent seeing under the terrain through the Armco. At Alton Park, there was some incorrect wall collisions on the pit wall at Red Bull Ring. And then apparently there was a gap in the terrain near Turn 2 at Road America, and they've updated some signs and things as well. So a few little handy fixes here and there.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, that's the updates. If there's anything that we missed that you really want to check out and let us know, get into our Discord, lockedonlads.com/Discord, and let us know. Put in the podcast questions section if you've got any news and results you want us to talk about. But look, there's a couple quick things that came up that I want to touch on. It's a hard one to explain, but iRacing and NASCAR have become partners. Gone into an official partnership agreement. So I don't know how that sits for things like NASCAR Heat, because NASCAR Heat, the other game, which is far more arcadey, has always had a partnership or had the license for NASCAR. But I guess iRacing is putting a bit more effort into the partnership with iRacing. Obviously, iRacing's been doing a lot of stuff with them and debuting or basically testing out real world tracks which aren't in existence yet, which is what Chicago is. It's okay, this is a potential track, let's make it in iRacing and let's see what it's like, and then we can potentially go down the track and we've got it all sorted out. So, and obviously premiering the new car in iRacing, the next gen version of the NASCAR in iRacing is another way that they've always worked together really well, but this partnership is going even further into it. So look out for a lot more work, a lot more closer efforts between NASCAR and iRacing going forward. I just thought it was an interesting one. Like, I know they've always been close, but this is just a further getting that things a little bit closer too. So, then also just to quickly let people know, this is because this is a personal series that I love watching every year, and it's the 2021 version of the iRacing Rallycross Championships. They've announced the qualifying series for that. It will launch on July the 14th at Daytona Speedway. The top eligible point scorers in the 7-round campaign will then be invited to join the World Championship alongside the top 10 scorers from last year's campaign. So if you are interested, the dates and the tracks are on the website, but basically the 7 weeks through July 14th through to August 25th, culminating at Charlotte Motor Speedway, will be the actual qualifiers. Their 5 p.m. ET is the actual event on the time for that event. So wake up early. I'm pretty sure for Australians is usually the case from people who've tried to qualify before. I think it's like a 3 or 4 a.m. start generally. But then in September 22nd, the actual iRacing World Championship will start, and it will kick off at Daytona International Speedway Long. And finish.
I was watching Bo Albert stream yesterday afternoon, and he's putting a lot of time into trying to qualify for the World Championships for the rallycross.
Yeah.
So people were asking him, is he doing any of the upcoming special events? And he's like, look, to be honest, all of my time that's not doing any kind of streaming will be dedicated to trying to qualify for the rallycross World Championship. So that'd be pretty cool. There's someone to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. We've had people get close in the past, but with rallycross, the problem is you can get taken out very easy on the first corner, and that's it for your race. So you lose points pretty quickly. Unfortunately, that's the downside of rallycross. But look, hopefully, a few Aussies get a few good runs and get a bit of luck that go their way, and we can see a couple in the World Championships later on this year, because it is always fun to watch. I love watching rallycross in iRacing. It's really good fun. So the other thing is we're hearing reports we're in the TRAX Racing Discord with Jamie Skell that we covered a fair bit a couple of weeks ago, or over a month ago now. Seems like all races from that series have stopped in the planning. So if you were interested in the TRAX series, you won't be able to do that anymore, unfortunately. We haven't heard exactly what's happening with that, just that it's not happening. So hopefully, best of wishes to anyone who's involved in that. Obviously Jamie himself, and I just wonder what happened, but obviously eventually we'll find out.
Bit of a shame,
because for the news.
Bit of a shame because it was a cool and interesting different concept. So yeah, that's
it. And the more and look, I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. So that's why I encourage and celebrate when people do different things and try different things, because that, more options out there for more people, and you never know what can come from it. And it was a really good idea, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's not going ahead anymore. So keep an eye out for what Jamie has planned in the future, I guess, because he's always one who's always trying to bring something to the market. So good luck to him. I think he's racing in the V's tonight, actually. So good luck in the V's tonight with that stacked field that's in there. But let us finish talking about news and updates, and let's go into the results, which is brought to you this week by Locked On Lads on Facebook. Go check us out, Locked On Lads on Facebook. I will promise I will put more photos up there. I know Jamie McHenry's been doing a heap of work for us on photos, and I'm just slacking off at the moment. But keep an eye out for some awesome photos that are going up there fairly soon.
John McHenry?
And what's that?
John McHenry?
What did I say?
Jamie.
Jamie, did I? Yeah, there you go. That's how early in the morning we're recording. If you don't know, we're recording on a Wednesday morning just after I've done 3 or 6 hours of work. It's really fun. Let's us head into the results. So we will start with Ozicar round 3 for Formula V's at Tsukuba, or about the 5 different ways that I heard it pronounced on the night. Between Daniel Haynes and Reese Gardner. It was some very interesting versions of it coming out, and I'm sure both of them were right. But let's get into the results themselves. It was really, really good night of racing, and packed fields once again. Really good to see. And not only have we got Chaz Mostert in this series now, we've also got Jake Kostecki doing what Kostecki does and not finishing very well. But
well, let's just not draw attention to Chaz and Jake. We also had Ryan Jones.
No. I did see that, and once again, doesn't know how to not take people out. So interesting stuff there. So I guess we'll talk about that in the results. But yeah, I've got some stuff planned if I can get it ready for tonight about Ryan Jones with Scraps, and we'll see how I can set it up. But look out for the broadcast tonight by SimSpeed of Scraps. There might be a little wink and a nod to Ryan Jones from me. But anyway, let's get into the results. So, did you get to watch the race? Obviously,
I watched bits and pieces of it. What was I doing on Wednesday night? I was doing something. I'm sure it was important.
You're definitely practicing Hockenheim, and then you're also watching me after it. So.
Yeah, I definitely watched you after. Might have been doing some Le Mans stuff, maybe. But yeah, I didn't quite get to see most of the race. I did see, and, friend of the Discord decided to come and tell us how good he was also, that Cameron Dance managed to clean up on the night. So he said it wasn't a spoiler if everyone knows who's going to win already.
Yeah, that's it. It's not a spoiler if the result was that predictable. Good stuff. Yeah, it was good to see both Cameron and David Haynes in there promoting V's, I guess, if that's a word for it.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, the results were, as some people may say, predictable. But the first race went to Cameron Dance, who qualified pole, led all the laps and won the race. So, nice little trifecta there for Cameron Dance. He took that away from
However,
Martin.
didn't get the fastest lap of the race.
He didn't.
Just to point that
Almost got the 4 from 4. Martin Turner in second, and then Chaz Mostert could only manage a lowly third place. So it's good to see, I suppose, how good some of these drivers actually are. And I'm sure Chaz hasn't driven the V's maybe as much as some of these other guys possibly, but he's a professional racing car driver. So,
too, besides Ryan Jones, right, who got the 4X for spinning, I can't even remember who he spun. It's not coming to me right now, but besides making that spin, I thought it was Mikey Harlan, but he finished not far behind him, so that's not right. The top 8 would have had 0 incident points.
Yeah.
So nice, not only are they fast racing and close racing, but it's clean racing once you take Ryan Jones out of it. So.
Pretty impressive stuff. So Alex McKellar could only manage 4th, Lee Partridge 5th, Sean McKenzie consistent again 6th, Ryan Jones, the man himself 7th, Mikey Harlan 8th, Alex John 9th, and Mitch Dean rounded out the top 10. Some notable finishes: Neil Yates up from 19th into 12th. Aidan Schultz up from 21st into 13th. Ray Oliver 26th into 15th. And Max Donnelly as well, 32nd up to 19th. So some big movers throughout the field there as well, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Being a sprint race as well, it's pretty hard to make those kind of moves over a long period of time. But no, well done to everyone in that series. It is going extremely well. Yeah, no, it was Mikey Harlan, so that's a good recovery considering he got fully spun on the back straight going into pit entry. Oh, no, that's race 2. That's what it was, not race 1. So those two were back behind each other in race 1 and then found themselves battling it out in race 2. Yep. That's where it was. So that 4 incident points from Ryan Jones wasn't even. That's something else altogether. So let's move into race 2, which, as I said, result much the same as Cameron Dance points out, except for this time Cameron Dance first, Chaz Mostert second, 1.5 seconds. Now, I was a bit shocked because he got within 2 seconds with about 2 laps to go, and I thought he was going to get the draft enough to catch up, but didn't quite get there. Martin Turner in third, so that was just Chaz and Martin swapped around. Mitch Dean, who came together with his brethren in the chicken up at one stage to really, Do we talk about the locked-on coming together as well? There was 2 team incidents on the night that were not the best for TV coverage. But anyway, we'll move on.
I feel like we make jokes about Milo cars doing Milo things. I think it's almost getting to the point in the V's where it's going to be locked-on cars just doing locked-on things.
I know, unfortunately it is. But look, Chicken Up did that in the second race where they battled and caused each other some grief and went on with it. But yeah, look, Alex John in there in 6th, Alex McKellar in 5th, which is surprising for those two, as considering the start they had to the season as well. Sean McKenzie 7th, which is really good. and then Daniel Hedershide in 8th. Ryan Jones in 9th after taking out Mikey Harland, who unfortunately put him way down the back at 31st.
Did give him an opportunity to make a pretty funny video that he chucked in the Ozicar Discord, though. So
it was a great video. You should definitely go check that out. Look, some of the big movers was Paul Jackson, 37th up to 19th. Ira Felberg himself, 23 up to 16th. But John Schultz, 31 up to 14. Lee Partridge, 33 up to 13. And then Shield Crawford, 21 up to 12th. Very, very good efforts from all those involved.
Can I
shout out in particular to race 1, Callum Heinrich once again showing how consistency is doing a great job. 26th from 34th. Really, really good effort there in number 1.
Can I just say as well, was it last season Vic was saying how he just wanted to finish 18th? Was 18th the number that he was trying to finish?
Yes.
Well, he started 18th and finished 18th in race 2 today as well, so he must have some kind of affinity with the number 18.
I love it. It's really good. But I'm looking for him. He's not in 18th at the championship. That's the problem right now. He's currently sitting 4 points away from that. So pick your game up there, Vic. Pick your game up. So let's go on to the series points. Take us through that.
Yeah, so Alex McKellar still leads them at the top, just holding on by 2 points from Cameron Dance, who is 5 points ahead of Sean McKenzie in 3rd spot. Lee Partridge, a further 5 points back in 4th, and then there's a bit of a drop-off to Stuart Crawford in 5th, who is, 31 points behind him. Alex John, Kirk Broadhurst, Martin Turner, Mitch Dean, and Daniel Hedershide round out the top 10, with Chaz Mostert just knocking on the edge of the top 10, but obviously missed a round, so that doesn't help there. Just having a look out for the Locked On boys, we got Nathan Verney in 20th.
Yep.
Vic Van Veltzen tied with Nick Skariev in 21st. Callum
Leon 23rd.
Yeah, Leon 23rd. Callum Heinrich 30th. Matthew Joy 32nd, and Jeremy Bush 34th. So the Locked On boys are struggling in the V's this season.
But it's the first season.
It is.
And it was very much a rookie team we put in there, except for Nathan. But Nathan's been taken out by absolutely every single other person, including himself. So unfortunately, yeah, that's where we're at.
That's it.
Vic, I don't know what to say about Vic anyway. Look, I want to go to the road to 2K points, but they're wrong.
They are
because Lee Partridge is on 168. I just looked up in the Facebook and the Discord, and the numbers he's posted are wrong. They're not updated. So Lee Partridge still would be on first in that at 247.
Yep.
Jackie Chalmers from way across the pond there in 171. So there's a significant gap there for him as well.
Yep.
Paul Jackson is still there in 3rd by 165. Stafford Marsland has dropped down a bit, I think. Oh, no, there's no one in between him. Oh, Dennis might have jumped up above him, actually. There you go. So 157 to Stafford's 151. So, yeah, that's where the road to 2K is. It's definitely Lee's to lose. But moving into the point series, I don't even think the point series are right. No, they're not. So Iris just posted the wrong thing.
Oh, good.
But look, I assume top split's still significantly out in front, but look at that. Nothing much has changed there. Okay, so Ozicar Skip Barber, round 3 at Le Mans, the Enduro. What in the hell happened there?
Yes, so
5 green cars win.
Yep, so didn't get the full hashtag green wall lockout this time, thankfully. Unfortunately for Donald, he was the one that missed out. I did say on stream the other day, because I noticed Russell was lurking in the chat there, so I thought I'd go a little bit of fishing, and when I jumped on Donald's chat, I said, "Oh, it's my favourite Milo driver." Russell quickly chimed in to say something along the lines of, "Yeah, he's the only one you can beat. That's why he's your favourite." I was like, "Wow, that's a shot at both of us. That's not very nice." So that was pretty funny. But yeah, so unfortunately for Donald, he was the one that missed out.
Put it this way, they they don't call Russell Clark quick for his driving ability, put it that way. It definitely is more his whip that they're talking about anyway.
So, yeah, it was a lot of green cars up the front. But you know what was good to see, Pete? There was a lot of locked-on cars up there as well. So between the green wall and the locked-on cars, I think we had about 8 of the top 10 or something along those lines.
Yeah, so we take the 5 green cars, then there's 3 locked-on cars. There's Sean McKenzie, then there's another locked-on car, Sean Doyle, and then Dennis Hancock. Look, Tim Harris is basically a pseudo locked-on car at the moment. And then you got me down in 16th, Mitesy in 18th, who was only there because of speeding in pit lane infringements, unfortunately, which I then rubbed it in the next day with a nice little meat that rubbed the salt into the wound.
So, yeah, we probably could have had almost the next 5 cars in the top 10. It could have been all green, then all locked on.
All locked on, or pink and blue. So.
Yeah.
No, look, I think we're going extremely well in the skips. I think the effort that the teams put in this season in particular is definitely showing through at the moment. So, yeah. Very, very much looking forward to that breakthrough where we get a few people back on the podium again. Because I know, look, both yourself and Chastity are very close, and I think Nathan just needs things to run his way, and he's going to be fairly close as well. So, yeah, very, very well done to Locked On. But let's get into the actual results. Yep. So, yeah, Ben Snell had a win. Alex McKellar second. We've said that a few times in the past however many seasons.
Pipped, just quickly.
Only 0.3 between them.
Yeah, only 0.3 between them, but also Alex McKellar pipped Ben Snell for the fastest lap points by 0.004 of a second. So, very close.
I love that too. They would have both helped each other along. That was my sad part about this whole thing was the amount of they helped each other out because Alex wasn't going to make it on fuel in that last stint because he underfueled himself for those last 3 laps.
I
know. And then there was a few others that it wasn't just themselves they were helping out. But look, they're a team, so what do you expect? But they were trying to draft a few other people that weren't even part of their team, and that's the kind of people they are, and it pisses me off that they're so nice as well. But anyway, nice and quick. What a terrible combination. But look, Alex John third, Russell Clark fourth, John Schultz fifth, yourself sixth, James Chastity after a terrible slowdown coming onto the back straight, I think in laps 6 or 7 or something like that.
A real shame as well because Chastity had the pace. He was equally as quick as Ben and Alex, and
qualified second for starters. Yeah, definitely was. That first 4 laps, he was just sitting there enjoying life, just watching. A few people battle and everyone else just save, and he just saved.
And who knows, if he had been up there, maybe Alex doesn't get the opportunity to save that fuel in the last lap. Maybe Chastity throws some spanner in the works by fighting a little bit and causing that group to break up a little bit. You just don't know. It would have been interesting to have him up there, but he was certainly chasing me down at the end while I was trying to make sure I didn't lose any incident points, but yeah.
Well, there was definitely what I found. If you wanted to push someone, you could still get the speed by side drafting them, but they couldn't get in front of you to get, or they'd have to pull behind you to pull you, and then they're up to whatever speed you want to go. So it's there was definitely some tactics there if you didn't want to have people draft you and wanted to put them out especially going through the corners, they'd have to fuel save around there, and if you broke the draft there, they were screwed. That's right. We saw that with Sean Doyle was behind Chastity at one stage, but had to fuel save, and as soon as he broke, he bucketed down the field, unfortunately. So, but let's get back to Nathan Verney in 8th, Sean McKenzie 9th, and Tim Cornt running out the top 10 now. They all got Sean Doyle at the end because of fuel. Dennis, I think, did he stop a 3rd time, or did he? I think he stopped 3 times in the end. That's what saw him go further down than that. Tim Harris, unfortunately, had to stop 3 times. He stopped first lap. I don't know. He came out and said it was a strategy error on his part, and he owns it. But it was an interesting little race for the strategy like that. The big movers, I guess, Jamie Willetts 36th up to 19th, Brady Baldwin 28th up to 17th,
David Summers
20th for Ira up to 14th.
Yeah, David Summers 33rd up to 22nd, Farron Hancock's 29th up to 23rd as well. So some good movers throughout the field.
Yeah, check out the difference between me and Anthony Connors there for 15th and 16th.
Yeah, wow.
It is
Well, a tenth.
1/100th of a 1/10 of a second. He was about 3 seconds ahead of me going that last section of corners from the back straight. And I thought, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to get him. And then all of a sudden, I got a second on him in through one of the corners, then another half a second on one of the corners. So I came into that last section where the pit straight is, or the pit entrance is, and I was about only a second behind him. I'm like, I can dive down these corners real quick. And I think I came out of the last chicane and just got behind him a little bit too much and had to take my foot off the accelerator to not run up the rear of him to get myself offline to then go past him. I think that cost me in the end. But the other one was Craig Kerman dropped a bucket load of spots there with him running out of fuel just before the line. And it was so heartbreaking watching it on the broadcast too, because you can see a group of about 4 cars coming up behind him and they just get him like seconds, meters before the start finish line.
Yep.
It was very interesting. Like I said, I want to see more fuel and pit strategy races. And if you're listening, Ira, close the pits for the first and second laps of the race. It's going to make a huge difference. Now you can do it. Anyway, let's go to the season table. What's happening over there, Braden?
Yeah, so series points. Alex McKellar's taken a pretty commanding lead over Ben Snell, 12 points. So Ben would have got a little bit back there, but still those 12 points. Then it's a big drop off to Alex John in third place, who is 26 points back of Ben. So it's really a fight for first and second there. And then it's a bit of a fight for third place at the moment, unless one of those two have a bad round. Russell Clark in fourth, 14 points back from Alex. I'm 6 points back from Russell Clark. Sean McKenzie, 10 points back from me. James Chastanoff, 4 points back from Sean.
What a solid comeback for him too, after blowing his engine race one and going from third to 31st in one corner.
Absolutely, yeah.
So just to chuck another 30 points on that, and all of a sudden he's definitely battling for a top 3 spot.
That's it. Dennis Hancock, Matthew Mites and Nathan Verney tied on 218 down in 9th. The rest of the Locked On boys, as you said, sort of Tim Harris in the Ozicar, 205 points in 12th. Jeremy, 13th. Yourself, 14th. And Leon down in 26th. And then obviously Tim missing the round down in 32nd. So he'd be a bit higher if he hadn't missed that round.
Yeah, definitely. He'd be up there around where Chastity is as well. He'd definitely be in the top 10. Oh, no, he'd be sort of around Mitesy and Verney, maybe just outside the 10.
Yep.
So, that's a shame.
The team points, Top Split Racing is running away with this season. It's not even close. They are, 94 points?
They're nearly 100 points.
Yeah, 94 points. So almost a whole round's worth of points already ahead of... Van Diemen Racing.
Alex McKellar could have a week off and they'd still be in front at the end of it.
Then Locked On Racing News and Results. Myself and Nathan Verney in third, holding on by 2 points to third place from Van Diemen Racing. Then Locked On iRacing Interviews podcast, fifth. White Knuckle Racing, sixth. Locked On Black Sheep Racing, seventh. Locked On Lads The Man Cave, eighth. White Knuckle Racing 2 in ninth. Missed Apex Racing 10th. Rookie Racing 11th, First 11 Racing 12th, 111 Esports 13th. Bit of a drop off for them after previous seasons, with Stuart Crawford missing some rounds, I think, and being the only other the only other 111 Esports car in the field after having about 6 last season. So
bizarre, isn't it?
And then
it is bizarre.
The remainder of the teams are single teams. So
yeah. So let's move into the road to 2K, which I'm excited about because this is what's getting me going this year. And I've obviously put a fair bit more effort into this season than the last couple of seasons. That's why I sort of had a break coming to Speedway round, because the Speedway, we've done it before. I know it. I'm pretty happy with it. So that's why I sort of had a bit of break over the last couple of days and not too worried about it. But Dennis Hancock, 226th in first. I'm 25 points behind him in second, and Brady Baldwin is only then another 8 points behind me in third. Farron Hancock's holding on in fifth, another 10 points back at 183. David Summers and Craig Kerman. Unfortunately, Craig lost about probably 5 or 6 points at the end. They're running out of fuel. Otherwise, he'd be on his own in fifth on 173. And then Darren Lassu's just back there in seventh on 167. So There is 60 points covering the top 7 there, almost top 8, with Ashley Knowles dropping down a fair bit from his stellar start to the season. Very, very close. Look, if Dennis has one bad week, it's game on. And pretty much just to hold on to a top 3 spot, I'm going to have to be battling pretty hard and getting great results just to keep it up there. So
to be fair, it only has to be one bad race with the field sizes this season. It doesn't even have to be a bad round.
Well, that's exactly right. Not even a round, a race. So yeah, especially with something like Speedway coming up, it could throw everything on top of itself coming out of it. So let's move on to the ANZCAR series, where once again, the amazing Carl Withy has come through with the goods and given us a rundown of everything that's happening in the oval world of ANZCAR in the last 7 days. So take it away, Carl.
Hello chaps and chapettes, and welcome to the ANZCAR wrap-up here on Locked On iRacing. I am, as ever, Carl Withy, and we'll be starting off with, as ever, the Monday Night Truck Series. Round 8 of the second series would head to Kentucky for a finger-looking-good race, which would go green from flag to flag. Jaden Russell would once again show some serious speed on the ovals and get pole position, but it was Jason Martin and Aidan Schultz who would battle for first place over the first half of the race. However, Andrew Dyson would work his way to the front of the pack in the end, taking victory by keeping his tyres alive over each stint and having great pace. The results were Dyson first, Foster second, third for Skurlock, fourth for Schultz, fifth for Phelps. The championship is still led by Foster on 312 points. 28 points down is Martin in second. Third place for Micklemore, 31 points off the lead. Robbie fourth, fifth for Nathan Clark, sixth for Hedesheed, seventh for Raymond, eighth for Norman Clark, ninth for Wellman, and Phelps, both in joint positions. Wednesday night would see the Thunder Series, the Xfinity cars heading to Road America for round 8 of the championship. The tricky Elkhart Lake track of Road America would be host for this round, and it would see Brendan Hobson taking pole position over Andrew Dyson. This would lead to a race-long battle between the pair at the front, but action was seen throughout the field, highlights being a fight for P11 and 12 on the last lap between Griffiths and Finley, racing side by side for the final lap, and finishing with a photo finish across the line. Brenton Hobson would end up taking the victory, fending off the fierce attack from Dyson. The results were Hobson first, Dyson second, third for Foster, fourth for Gallagher, fifth for Anastakis. The championship looks like this. Gallagher retains the lead with 327 points. Second place for Phelps, 39 points off the lead. Third, Micklemore, fifth, Donnelly, fourth, Donnelly, fifth, West, sixth, Norman Clark, seventh for Hobson and Raymond, ninth for Hunter, and 10th for Davidson. Thursday night, the Cup Series would head to Wisconsin and Road America for round 20 of the series. The battle from the Xfinity Series carried over to the Cup, with Dyson taking pole over Hobson, and the battle was once more a great fight. This time, Dyson's teammate Philip Worley getting into the mix. The three would race on until the very end, changing positions throughout the race and battling all night long, trading fastest laps each lap between them. We would see more side-by-side racing around the tricky track, with Foster and Gallagher both going door-to-door for multiple laps. Dyson would eventually take the win, meaning Hobson would have to settle for P2 on his Cup debut. Let's run through the results, with Dyson taking the win, Hobson second, Worley third, fourth for Skurlock, and fifth for Gallagher. Championship stands like this after 20 rounds. First is Josh Micklemore on 718 points. Second, Jason Martin, 53 points down. Skurlock in third, fourth for Gallagher, fifth for Danny G, sixth for Pearson, seventh for Foster, eighth for Dyson, ninth for Raymond, and Traher in 10th. This week we'll see the trucks at Indianapolis, and the Xfinity and Cup Series will be heading to Atlanta. We hope to see you there on FGM eCast, your place for e-pace, where you can follow all of the ANZCAR series throughout the weeks. And as always, a big thank you to Locked On iRacing, your place for keeping you up to date with the Aussie's best online sim racing action. Thank you very much, and back to you guys.
Thanks, Carl. That is awesome work. I really need to get over there and have a race with them one night. I keep on promising to, but I need to now. I've got a car, stick it up and ready to go. We'll work on it one Monday night coming up soon. But let's move into Apex Hunters United. Came around for round 2, the big Enduro 4-hour at Watkins Glen International Boot Layout, which is a good fun layout. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this race because of just how time and things work. And neither did Braden, and we don't have anyone covering it from our end, so that's the unfortunate part about it at this stage. But look, Lobs Esports 94 took out the win.
Which I believe is back-to-back wins for them. I think that's Jared Filsell's team.
Yeah, definitely. Over Harnell Jones United, which is I don't know what they did last time, but that's a good job for them. If you able to find us a team listing for that in the Discord, it's over there somewhere. But they were only 0.6 of a second behind after 4 hours of racing, which is a really good effort. Just interesting to note, they had 22 incident points versus 4 for Lobs, who won the race. So very, very good effort there. 125 laps were done. Fastest lap of 132.3. Very good stuff. Lobs did lead for 86 of the laps, and Harnell Jones United did get out 9 points in there as well. Apex Hunted United Esports number 69, which I believe is Giz's team, or
I think it is Giz's team. Yeah, Giz and Nick Foster.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Took the third spot for the P2, the Dallara P217 class. So 8 seconds back. So well done to all 3 of those. There was some interesting stuff. Look, I can't even read that, but I think it's BD Esports.
Yep.
Number 1 started 11th and finished 4th, so great job to them. And Trick Esports, they got 10th up to 6th, so that's some pretty good results there. Even Vision Sim Racing, 17th up to 8th, very good effort there as well. Half the field end up on the lead lap, which is a really good effort as well. Going through the GTE results, Logitech Altus Esports, 3 laps down on the Dallaras, which is a very good effort anyway. But they took the win. I can't get distances between the two, but they're on the same lap as BVN Esports 168 in the Porsche, both in the Porsche 99 RSR. So well done there. Drop Bear Motorsports got 3rd. They do have a 20 points adjustment there as well, so something interesting definitely did happen there with the Drop Bear team, as it always does. And yeah, that's the top 3 for that. We then go down to Apex Hunters GT3 class, and in the Porsche 911 GT3R, 8 laps down on the Dallaras, Team FA Alonso Kart Australia took out the win. I believe that's 2 in a row for them as well. Very good effort there. Drop Bear Motorsports once again doing a great job. Sam Blacklock Media version of that in the GT3s taking 2nd, and Evolution Racing Team 226 in 3rd. So congratulations to all those guys guys and girls that raced in that series. Any other points that I missed in that you want to bring up, or just get straight into the Pro Truck Showdown?
Yeah, not too much. I did see a slight little bit of the broadcast, and I really like the way that the series is being run, very professional by Nick Foster and Shane Van Gisbergen, as you would expect, and the way that they sort of act and talking to people and interacting on Discord is really, really good to see. You can see why Shane's so well respected, not only in the racing community, but also in the sim racing community.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a very good little Discord to be part of. We always see things happening that people seem to be working together. There was a few spots. If we had had a GT3 driver ready, from what I understand, looking at our Discord in the afternoon, we could have had a locked on racer in there that for that race, because there's a few teams that were looking for drivers. So maybe that's something we focus on, getting some drivers ready to jump up into the big league fairly soon. Probably something for next year. There are a few people interested in GT3, so looking forward to that. But let's head over to Justin Howe, who I hope I can get a recording with. Sorry about last week's little mix-up, but I hope you enjoyed Cameron Dan's version of it. But hopefully we've got Justin Howe taking away the last race in the showdown for Pro Truck Showdowns for a little while. He gives us a bit of a recap of what happened in the season. Here's Justin. Have a go. And welcome, Justin, to the podcast, mate. How are you going?
Sensational. Yeah, had a pretty action-packed night tonight, so it's great racing.
Excellent. So this is the final round, Pro Truck Showdown for a while. Run us through what happened, and then we'll wrap it up till the next time we come. So what happened tonight?
Tonight, first race, we had 14 trucks for the night, I think. 14 trucks, yeah. Brenton Hobson got out to a reasonable start and then got hung out to dry over the bank and went to the back of the field. He was in line for picking up the championship this round because Cooper Webster missed this round. So unfortunately, he will drop down in the points totals. So he had Zach Blanche rocket out to a big lead in race one. Ended up with a 2-second advantage over Cameron Dance. They had a good dice there for a while, with Glenn Postlethwaite coming home in third. It was a fantastic result for him.
Yep.
Gregory Favell come in for fourth place, about a second behind Glenn Postlethwaite, and then we had Jaden Russell rounding out the top five there for Synergy Sim Racing, with Brenton Hobson right behind him, who was chasing all the points he'd get tonight, but couldn't make it past his teammate Jaden. So then just to finish out the top 10, we had Brian Trezise, Mitchell McLeod, Wilhelm Leighton, and Dan Stevens. They're running for Mad As Designs.
Nice. So then that brought us to race 2. We flipped the field again, the front top 7.
No, for the race 2, we had a normal start this time because we run a land rush start on the Crandon.
Okay. Yep.
So that's pretty much luck of the draw. You're 10, 12 wide, and it's just who can get to the first quarter. She's
awesome.
a wild start, great to watch. Brenton Hobson got out to a good start with Dan Stevens absolutely rocketing up to the front. So they were dicing for a while. Then we ended up with it was a good race between Brenton Hobson and Jaden Russell. Then Cameron Dance was sort of out on his own with the finish there in third position. Dan Stevens come home in fourth, and Jake Jackson come home in fifth. I come home in sixth myself.
Well done.
Glenn Postlethwaite come home in seventh.
Yep.
Brian Trezise come home in eighth place, with Zach Blanche having an unfortunate start to the race. Him and Mitchell McLeod got together on the first hump after the first corner. Bit of an unfortunate sort of clash, and ended up barrel rolling for quote what felt like 1 minute. And then he ended up coming back up the field and coming ninth there, and Wilhelm Leighton rounding out the top 10. Then the final. Final was a great race between Brenton Hobson took it out, had a good start, pretty much led from start to finish. He had walked out to a 6-second gap. Then we had myself and Zach Blanche with an immense dice between the two of us. For second and third, I come home second. Zach Blanche come home third.
Nice.
Then we've got Cameron Dance come home in fourth. Jaden Russell come home fifth. Glenn Postlethwaite and come home sixth. Seventh was Dan Stevens. Eighth was Jake Jackson. Ninth was Gregory Favell. And 10th was Wilhelm Leighton.
So that finishes up the season, Justin. How did it all look at the end of the season?
The journey to the end of the season was quite interesting, actually. We had...
Yep.
I'll just run through the top threes of each round. We had Jordan Caruso for round 1 in first position, Jaden Russell P2, and Cooper Webster in P3 for the total round results there. Round 2 was Cooper Webster once again, Glenn Postlethwaite and Jordan Caruso for the total points takeaway there. Round 3 was Zach Blanche in P1, Brenton Hobson was in P2, and Cooper Webster in P3. So Brenton caught back a few points there. He had a really bad round in the first round, unfortunately. Round 4, Brenton Hobson took out the round win with Cooper Webster in second place and Glenn Postlethwaite in third. Then we moved to round 5, where Brenton Hobson took out the win again with Cooper Webster in second place and Ben Snell in third place.
Yep.
Round 6, our final, the total round points for that was Brenton Hobson in first place. Cam Dans come home in second place. And Jaden Russell, another one there of the Synergy Sims, come home in third.
Done.
Very late on in the charge, unfortunately, because Cooper Webster didn't turn up. Brenton Hobson took out the season championship.
Yep.
With Glenn Postlethwaite coming home in second, myself in third, and Jaden Russell in fourth, and Zach Blanche come home in fifth. So that was the total championship there. It was really close between myself and Jaden Russell. That come down to the wire with 939 points and 936 points to Jaden Russell. So the Synergy boys are all up there. Three Synergy boys in the top 5, and so yeah, they put up a good show for us.
Excellent, well done. Very good season, and it's been fun sitting along with you. So, how long is the break for we got at the moment?
Look, just due to a few personal issues, we'll be having a break of a month or a month and a bit. Just unsure. We need to organise a few things, but otherwise from that, we'll be back at it. Inside 2 months from now, and look forward to season 6. It's going to be a ripper. We're going to change a few things up. We've got different point systems. We're going to run fastest laps and top qualifier and stuff, so we'll earn points, extra points. Excellent. So really shake things up a bit, change the style of tracks we're going to, and keep a few dirt ones in there for the dirt boys to keep it all mixed up a bit.
Excellent, definitely. So, look, where can people find all the stuff and keep an eye out for where it comes out?
Look, we're on Discord, of course, which you'll find the link on our Facebook page at Trucks Showdown. Have a look there. We'll keep you informed over the Facebook. I'd also like to thank Coffee Mugs Commander and Hot Toddy's Heating Installs. Both those guys have supported the series since the inset, and it's been really appreciated. Would also like to thank Hobbo or Hobbo88. Check him out at Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. He made the little video ad for us, and Roboticus supplied us with a soundtrack for the video, which is really appreciated. So we got a licensed video for licensed soundtrack for the Pro Truck Showdown. It was quite exciting.
Excellent. Very good effort. So thank you to all those people who helped out bring the series to it is what it was. And look forward to catching it in the very near future, hopefully. Thank you so much for your time, Justin. Thank you for helping us out so much. We will catch you in the near future and definitely create some more contact with you soon. Have a good one, mate.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Locked On. I appreciate all your efforts.
No problems at all, mate. Have a good one. See ya.
Bye.
And thanks for that, Justin. We hopefully do some more stuff with you fairly soon. Now, let's head over to the Aussie Online Gaming's Scrapped series, truck series on a Wednesday night on SimSpeed TV that we've got Locked On Cars in. So let's have a look at round 1. Now, Braden, you got to watch a little bit of this because you're watching my ugly face on SimSpeed. And what did you think of the overall race?
Yeah, it was good. It was really cool to hear the strategy playing out. So I basically had, I can't remember which way I had it, but I had one of you guys stream, either yourself. I think I had Tim up for the first bit before he decided to bin it, and then I put yours up for the second half on the Apple TV, and then I sort of had the SimSpeed broadcast going on my phone, so I could sort of hear the commentary and what they were thinking. It was interesting. It's definitely, like, I always thought oval racing would be one of the most boring forms of motorsport possible, but it's actually kind of cool now that I understand it a bit more, and then hearing the behind the scenes of what's going on while you guys are racing. It does make me want to do oval racing more often, but there's only so many hours in the day I can dedicate to sim racing. There's that much stuff I want to do at the moment. It's not funny. So yeah, no, it was really good.
Yeah, so look, Braden Bolos from overseas came in and took the win by 0.14 of a second over Matt Danson. So well done to Matt Danson. Starting in P1 though, Matt Danson. Unfortunately, Braden was able to get him. It came down to pit stops and restarts, which was the big thing. I did hear in the post-race interviews that a few of the guys were starting in first gear instead of second and just getting that bit of an extra jump. But it is something very tricky. Launching a truck at the best of times in first gear is fraught with danger, let alone at 60 k's an hour behind a pace car with cars beside you. So well done to those who were doing that to get that advantage. But Jason Martin came in third. So that was your podium qualifiers finishing in podium positions, just a slightly different order. Jaden Russell in fourth. Daniel Yeaman, who's a big part of the organisation of this, in fifth. Bo Albert, after spinning early on and having to get a spare car, came in sixth, so well done to him for Altus there. Daniel Stevens in seventh. Matty Jones in eighth, and Nigel Payton in ninth, and Michael Skurlock in 10th. I need to talk about Michael Skurlock soon, because he's not racing crank colours at the moment in that series, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so lead laps had 19 cars on the lead lap out of the 30 strong field, which was a pretty good effort. Myself was the last one on the lead lap, like I mentioned. There was some solid movers of Matthew Kefford from 27th up to 16th, was actually leading there for a while on one of the restarts. 30th to 17th was Michael Taglianich. And 15th up to 9th was Nigel Patton, we mentioned before. 14th up to 6th for Bo Albert. So considering where he started plus the spin, it was a very good effort as well. So it ended up being 78 laps. It ended up going time certain, which they did change midweek, and I didn't realise that was a 60-minute time certain race. But yeah, that was a roundup of what happened in Aussie Online Gaming SCRAPS Trucks. And we go to Atlanta tonight for round 2, so look out for that race. So then let's head to Sunday Night Lights, where I believe you've got a pre-recording there with Alex McKellar. So take it away, Alex.
G'day everyone, Alex McKellar here, the host of Top Split TV's ongoing coverage of Sunday Night Lights. Round 3 of Season 24 saw the best of the world of Skippy drivers once again head to the Suzuka circuit in Japan. The Grand Prix layout drawing a season's best strength of field, once again reaching the mid-4600s. A hotly contested qualifying session saw Movano Sim Racing's Manu Big Breaks Lucetta secure pole with an outstanding single lap time of 2:24.4, eclipsing the next best time of Apex Racing's Benny Simonson, who joined him on the front row, missing out on pole by the slimmest of margins of 3/100ths of a second. Julian O'Fray put in his best qualifying performance of the season so far, starting third when the green flag dropped, with the other Movano Sim Racing driver Ludwig Guidi joining him on the second row of the grid. For the first time this season, Chris Herrera joined the SNL grid, starting in 5th. Corey Lean was the best of the ANZ Club drivers in qualifying, putting his Skippy on the 4th row in 8th position, with the only other ANZ driver in the field, Vasco Sorowski, starting 16th. The race got underway for the first of 11 laps of the picturesque Japanese circuit, with a dramatic series of collisions in the second half of the field as they exited the first turn and tackled the Snaking S's series of corners, seeing multiple drivers come a cropper and really decimating the bottom half of the grid. This incident seeing an end to the competitive outing for the lone local Japanese driver Gail Kawabe, who found himself unfortunately tied up in the incident, robbing him of the chance to shine in his home event. Whilst there were pockets of excitement throughout a stretched out field, the story of the race really was up front in the battle of 5 cars vying for the win. What started out as a group of the top 6 qualifiers breaking away soon settled down to be a group of 5 after Giuseppe Tellini was unable to hang on and was forced to run a very lonely race to cross the line, ultimately in the same position he started, that of 6th. But the 5 at the front put on a show for the ages. There were battles in battles as the leading duo of Lucchetta and Simonsen fought to break away as a pair, with Guidi, O'Fray and Herrera racing as hard and as close as anything we've seen for several seasons, while both trying to push forward in the lead group and at the same time not lose draft. Periodically we saw Lucchetta seemingly torn between breaking away and dropping back just enough to keep his Movano Sim Racing teammate in draft and fighting for the win. On more than one occasion, his teamwork was rewarded with the hard-charging Guidi chucking it up the inside of the hairpin, with the teammates running side by side before settling back to line astern in their effort to lock out the top steps of the podium. Pushing the limits of their cars and the circuit to the extreme as the laps ran down, Chris Herrera seemed to be stepping just outside the limits of both at times, seeing his night ending with an extremely strong 5th position. From there it was O'Fray who challenged the podium all the way to the final chicane to ultimately finish 4th. It was at that very chicane where we saw the Movano races split in two in an amazing display of skill by all involved to run right on the limit without ever making contact in the absolute heat of battle. Benny Simonsen putting his Apex racing machine in between the teammates and seeing him take out 2nd position. With Guidi outpointed to sit on the 3rd step of the podium while his teammate Lucchetta really stepped up to take the win. It was one of the best lead pack battles we've seen in the history of the series, and it certainly augurs well for the races to come. Corey Lean perhaps having one of the drives of the night after having been turned to face the oncoming traffic in the opening lap melee, the ANZ driver fought his way back to finish 8th in a combination of good driving and good fortune. As we head around the grounds to take a look at the lower splits, we saw the top 4 positions in the 2nd split taken out by local ANZ club members, with Mitchell Nichols taking out the win just ahead of the Ozicar trio of John Scholz, Sean Doyle and Nathan Verney. The latter two making their entry into the series for this season and doing so in style. Perhaps the one thing costing the local boys from snaring all top 5 positions was the unfortunate network failure of Braden Martin, the Locked On iRacing podcast's own, failing to take the grid in his return to the track after last week's debut in the commentary team, where he was let down with technical issues that cost him dearly in the end. A continuing purple patch saw Mark Jeffrey grab more SNL points in his top 10 finish in the 2nd split, with the SNL stalwarts season continuing to build nicely. Turning our attention to the championship standings, with 2 wins from 3 races, Manu, Big Breaks Lucchetta, continues to lead the way, 6 points clear of his Movano Sim Racing teammate Ludwig Guidi, who is a further 9 points clear of Julian O'Fray. Once again showing what SNL is all about in pushing hard, even from strong performances in the 2nd split, we see Team Milo's John Scholz leap 4 positions to be the leading ANZ driver in the championship after 3 rounds, sitting in 4th overall. Another podium from Apex Racing's Benny Simonsen sees the Danish expat rounding out the top 5. With another good haul of points, Mark Jeffrey continues his rise up the ladder to sit 1 place higher this week in 9th position, just ahead of the only other ANZ club member on the leaderboard, Corey Lean, who rounds out the top 10 drivers to this point in the season. Next week sees the SNL juggernaut return to the Hockenheim ring for only the 2nd time since the TRAX introduction. This time, the best Skippy drivers will tackle the short A layout, which will no doubt reduce not only the lap times, but the impact of the draft on overtaking opportunities. It'll be very interesting to see how these top flight drivers take on this new challenge and what type of racing it will bring. Whatever the layout brings by way of strategy, there is no doubt that the quality field drawn to battle it out each Sunday night will once again leave it all out on the track. So join us on track or over on the Top Split TV Twitch channel next Sunday night at 9:15pm Australian Standard Time for some of the best racing you'll find anywhere. It'll once again be the place to be on a Sunday night. Thank you as always to our friends over at Locked On iRacing Podcast for giving us another platform to share the amazing racing with an extended audience. We are certainly still looking for our next ANZ Skippy champion. SNL gives you the platform to take on the world. So many of our champions have gone on to take out the overall official Skippy championship as well. The last 8 champions have won both titles. So I'm calling out once again to the ANZ community to get out there and show your stuff to the world. Finally, a massive shout out to the ongoing support we get from the drivers in the SNL community on track and off. As we always say, SNL is for the community, by the community, and that's how we like it. Until next week, though, this is Alex McKellar signing off. Ciao for now.
Thank you for that, Alex. That's another great effort as always, and hopefully we'll get Braden up into this top split eventually, and he might actually be able to race soon. We'll see. Hopefully we can, if he stops losing iRating, we'll get him
Still
in there.
too soon.
But look, too soon still? Okay, sorry. This is a very good effort you're doing over there. So look, let's head to thanking our sponsor again before we wrap this up. So CD Cinematography. Go check them out on Facebook. We'll have the link in the show notes if you need to get there. It's also on the little, if you're watching the web browser version of the podcast, it's on there and it's in the YouTube link as well. So thank you, Clayton Davies, for helping us out. And look, we do need the help because this is becoming a much bigger job than we ever did think. And it is, I'm looking at different ways of recording, which is going to cost even more. So look, thank you everyone who is helping out where they can. It means a huge amount, just the actual, not even the money support, but the actual support from people like Carl Withy at ANZCAR, Justin Howe from Pro Trucks, and then Alex McKellar from Sunday Night Lights, been able to record that stuff for us, and anyone else who's recording things for us for news and things like that, pre-recording, it makes a huge difference to our podcast. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll get some new expanded things happening sometime in the near future. We'll be able to tell you about as well. Yeah. But Braden, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, and it helps us. We want to be the hub for the sort of iRacing community down here in Australia and New Zealand. So, if you want to be a part of it and get your series out there, we're more than happy to take things on board. We want this to be the central spot that everyone comes to find their results or their news and be a bit of a community-based project. So
that's it, and not just the podcast itself, but the Facebook and the Discord. That's what we're aiming for. So help us out. Come and join in the fun. But anyway, let's move on to what's happening and where people can find you. Which Braden, what have you got coming up, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on twitch.tv/the1dway. It's been really nice. I've been picking up some followers here and there over the last few weeks. I've been streaming the last few days, actually. I'll probably try and do another stream maybe today while I try and get that iRating up. So, come over. It's been nice to actually have some people to chat with while I've been racing. And I'm actually getting pretty close to that affiliate. I just need to get the average viewers up now. So, if you want to come over and help me out with that, that'd be awesome. And then, if you want to hear me talking about motorsport or whinging about football or complaining about something, come check me out or on Twitter at Braden Talks.
Yeah, well, don't do what I did and leave your stream going overnight where average viewers go down to 1 because it's just the end screen up there. Thank you to everyone who watched the stream for some reason between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. The other morning, it might have been 5 a.m. It was apparently a fun stream. But look, you can check out those streams at twitch.tv/LockedOnLads. Look, we're at 440, I think, at the moment. We really need to push for 500. So if you are watching this and you haven't followed us on Twitch, go over and give us a follow, because I would really like to hit that 500 mark on Locked On Lads. And it's a good channel. And obviously, to do that, I probably should stream more. But I'll be streaming tonight at around 8 o'clock for Scrap Series. Tomorrow night at about 7 o'clock for basically as soon as my wife's dance class is finished, because the noise from that gives me copyright strikes. So as soon as that's finished, I'll be live for Ozicar Skip Barbers. And then hopefully this week, Friday, I'm trying to get another hunting stream or some kind of a multiplayer stream going on this Friday night. I haven't told anyone yet, but see what happens. And then hopefully once things die down a little bit, I get some more day streams happening again, playing some fun, interesting games, which I want to bring to you during the day at the moment. And then obviously some races, because I need to do more visuals. I just don't. I don't, and I want to get that road to 2K happening and get over 2K so I can be faster and better with people. But look, the other thing we want to push is Locked On Lads YT is our YouTube channel. That's Locked On Lads YT. If you can go give us a subscription over there or follow, whatever they call it over there, smash the bell, all that kind of stuff. We're at 330 at the moment, so we're pushing on. The end goal is to get to 1,000. But look, the next goal is to get to 400. So if you can help us out over there, that'd be great. We are putting most of the all the old episodes of the podcast up there, so it will be the hub where you can get all the old content. And we will eventually start putting other content up there soon once I just get some spare time, which hopefully, the way things are going, should be in the next couple of months. Touch as much wood as I can. But look, they're the places you can get us. CD Syntography, as we mentioned before, go check them out. LockedOnLads.com/Discord. Come be with us. Come spend your time with us. Come see what we've got to offer. It's a good little community growing, and we want to welcome you to it. So thank you, everyone. We'll be back on Sunday with an interview. I'll let you know who that is during the week. But until then, have fun and keep racing.
Drive safe, drive fast.